Waking up from a terrible dream. Have you ever found yourself in another nightmare? The city is devastated. All the buildings are destroyed. There's a lot of fire and smoke around. A crack between the worlds is visible in the sky, from where many terrible monsters fly out, which sow chaos and devastation on the city. A huge worm wrapped around a tall building rushed down to the main character. Against the background of this worm, the main character looks so small. An ugly worm, towering over the main character, is preparing to attack. But, concentrating my strength, the hero gives the worm a rebuff. Someone is calling the main character. What's happening? When Lu Shen came to his senses, he realized that he was in class for a lesson. The angry teacher tries to wake him up, and the class watching all this burst into laughter. The teacher began to reproach the hero, saying that in 6 months exams, and he sleeps in class. Can't she really sleep at home? The teacher said that if Lu Shen continues in the same spirit, he will not even be taken to the construction site. Continuing to shout at the main character, the teacher asks him a question about the health status that is needed in order to become a builder. Confused and drooping, Lu Shen replies that he remembers. This status is 0.8. But the teacher does not seem to hear Lu Shen and continues to shout at him, hoping that the main character understood why he was saying all this. Lu Shen's classmates also join the teacher here. One of them says that the teacher should not pay attention to the main character. Let Lu Shen continue to sleep. Another classmate, agreeing with the first one, adds that the hero's health status is 0.7 and with such a status he has no future. To which the teacher says, turning to Lu Shen, that he is not even trying. At this, the teacher announced the end of the lesson. The class began to disperse. Liu Kaiming, one of Lu Shen's friends, turned to him and asked him about the nightmares that the main character has. Lu Shen became alarmed and closed his eyes. He dreamed again of that dark apocalyptic world where there was not a soul around except monsters. Lu Shen says that nightmares will definitely drive him crazy someday. Because of the nightmares, his status dropped by 0.02. And now he will have to use a bunch of wheels and work up a sweat to get back to past performance. Liu Kaiming advises him to give up on all this, saying that they are just ordinary people. They just need to sit and not draw attention to themselves. Moreover, Lu Shen's status is even lower than that of his friend. A friend recommends that he leave heroism to geniuses. Liu Kaiming suggests a friend to go and play something. But now Lu Shen is not in the mood, so he refuses. He says he'd better go home and sleep. Astonished, Liu Kaiming asks if a friend is ill, and still continues to insist on his own, saying that time and gas are at his expense. Lu Shen shook his head negatively and replied to his friend that not today. He really wants to get some sleep. One of the classmates is calling Liu, to which Liu replies that he will come in a minute. Lu Shen says goodbye to his friend, agreeing that they will play later. Lu Shen has left school and is heading home. Along the way, he begins to tell himself that he would never have thought that, having been reborn in a new world, he would worry about fucking exams. Also this damn math. He needs to at least read it. But, apparently, this world and the one from which he came are not so much different from each other. But still, then suddenly someone shouts at him. It was a girl who wasn't carrying a bunch of boxes for herself. Lu Shen was surprised by the girl's strength. The girl is really very strong. But will the hero ever be able to become the same? In the evening of the same day, at home, Lu Shen's mother glues compresses on her husband's back. At this time, the main character comes home. Mom is happy that her son has already come. The father, putting on a t-shirt, says that he will cook something soon. Mom tells Lu Shen that his sister has not come yet, so while they are waiting for her, Lu Shen can have an apple snack. But the hero, concerned about his father's condition, asks him why they still haven't bought a blood circulation device. Lu Shen heard that the device improves blood circulation and increases the level of vital energy, as well as promotes the regeneration of lumbar and back injuries. The hero says that his classmate has one, and it's a good thing. The father answers his son that it is not his injuries, it is just a manifestation of old age. And he adds that he has a gift for Lu Shen. And these are the latest healing powders from the charity clinic. Mom, hearing their conversation, says that really these are the same powders for $20,000 that were shown on TV. Lu Shen is clearly worried about something, but the parent does not notice the change in his face and continues to talk. Slapping her husband on the back, she praises him, saying that she has heard how they are very useful for school students. Today, Lu Shen's mom just got the remains of a pig's head. She suggests celebrating it. The father supports the idea of a wife. Concluding the dialogue with her husband, Mom asks Lu Shen what's up with his status, whether he has already reached 0.85. After all, his sister has already reached 0.9. His parents are very worried. Mom says she heard today that the status threshold for admission to high school exams will be increased by 0.01. Terrified and worried, Lu Shen replies to her that he knows this. Later in his room, the hero decides that he needs to pump up. He exhales and concentrates on the 24th body reconstruction technique. He starts with 14 exercises. This is radio gymnastics. Lu Shen says that the International Martial Arts Union recommends these 24 body reconstruction techniques. These union masters developed these techniques based on ancient yoga and judo. They help the masters strengthen the body. And now Lu Shen is doing the 13th exercise. After the world changed 300 years ago, cracks began to appear in the sky and on the ground. And the monsters that came out of these rifts changed the course of history. Modern weapons have lost their relevance, and humanity had to find new ways to fight. At that very moment, the genetic feature inside people was unlocked. And after that, each person's strength began to grow exponentially. Subsequently, the human race entered a new era, and this era of the heyday of martial arts. But despite this, the problem with monsters still threatened humanity with extinction. Everyday cities were destroyed under the onslaught of monsters, which did not promise humanity anything good. Modern school children were not born at the right time, and now they have to build the future. All of them were specially trained in martial arts, the legacy with which they now have to go out into the adult world. After Lu Shen exhausted himself by doing 3 sets of body reconstruction techniques, he realized that his status had not changed. After all, his younger sister has already reached 0.9. And because of his nightmares, he still cannot return to the old indicators. Lu Shen understands that his parents tried very hard to allow him this powder. The universe gave him another chance, a second life in this martial arts world. And is this really his limit? Very tired, Lu Shen is not ready to give up. He wants to continue his training further. He had fallen into the same wasteland from his dreams. Lu Shen found himself in some abandoned place, where complete ruin. What's going on here? Has the hero fallen asleep again? Unexpected, a terrifying monster jumped from the back at Lu Shen with a loud roar. The monster knocked the hero to the ground. Is it really a zombie? The hero thought that he had already been released. Why is he being punished like this? The zombie opened its mouth and was already aiming at Lu Shen, but he managed to dodge at the last moment. But the guy is not going to give up, and even though he is bad in close combat and his status is below 0.7, this does not mean that Lu Shen will give up so easily. The hero kicks the zombie in the stomach, and the monster flies away, which makes it possible for Lu Shen to quickly jump up and grab the nearest stone. The guy jumps on the zombie, puts a stone behind his head with both hands and hits the monster in the face with all his might. Hits until the zombie stops moving. Lu Shen dealt with the monster and realized that the head was their weak point. But it didn't end there. The remnants of his strength stand out from the monster's flesh and rush to the hero. Memories of the monster that used to be a man flash through Lu Shen's head. He sees events from the vacation of a man who wanted to enter the defensive corps after his graduation. How this man became a member of the team of defenders of base number 1359. They were taught 2 things, breathing techniques and body reconstruction techniques. The main character saw how the base and the creatures that invaded it were attacked, and some strange black fog. Lu Shen realized that these were the memories of that zombie. The hero saw these flashbacks after the zombie died, and now his body has become stronger. This power spreads throughout the hero's body. The hero realized that by killing a zombie, he got not only his memories, but also his power. Did Lu Shengyu now absorb the life experience of that zombie? Is this possible? The hero would very much like it not to be a dream. But in any case, the place is very strange, even for the inflamed consciousness of the protagonist. Everything looks very realistic. After seeing the skull, Lu Shengyu absorbed someone's memories again, and then remembered about base 1359, which appeared in the hero's past memories. And now the hero intends to find this base, and perhaps there he will find at least some information about what is happening here. This time, the feeling of memory absorption felt easier for the hero than the first time. He realized that in order to become stronger, he needs to kill zombies who are dressed in military uniforms, and the memories of these monsters will be useful to him. Something strange started happening again. The wind rose, the clouds thickened, dust flew into the eyes, and then Lu Shengyu moved back to his room. The hero woke up. Lu Shengyu's sister was standing in the corridor and was calling him to dinner, indignant at how long his brother could lie in bed. Lu Shen opened the door to Lu King. That's his younger sister's name. Ting told her brother not to lie to her about him exercising. After all, his face says the opposite. Lu Shen laughed awkwardly and said that he didn't notice how he passed out. The nurse turned around and said that since he was awake, he could go eat, otherwise the food would get cold. And surprised by what she saw, Lu Shen opened the door to her in a wet t-shirt that showed his abs well. She thought that when he became so muscular, apparently, he really decided to take himself seriously. Lu Shen informed his sister that he would be right there, and he plunged into childhood memories. He remembered that when he and his sister were little, she did not leave him. But as soon as they went to school and King found out the results of her status, her attitude towards her brother changed. It's quite amazing. After all, her health status was above 1.0, and her combat skills were above 100. Soon, she even received an invitation to a prestigious martial arts university. And in order to increase the already huge gap between brother and sister, nature also rewarded King with a brilliant mind. Well, Shen is just her stupid brother, a smart sister and a thick-headed brother. That's a cliché. While the hero recalled his childhood, he stood at the mirror and changed his wet t-shirt. He turned his attention to his body. It's strange, he didn't have such a body before, and Shen's weakness is gone. The drowsiness was gone, and on the contrary, he felt a surge of strength. Wait a minute, those memories that the hero received from the zombies, they were still with him. Yes, and the tricks of those zombies Shen remembered well. Incredibly, it seems the hero has become stronger. It turns out that the hero is allowed to transfer into reality the abilities that he receives in a dream. Sleep makes him stronger. Why Shengyu seemed to have fallen into a fairy tale. Munching on mom's food, Shengyu noticed that her food seemed to have become tastier. He needs more food. He asked for more. The family was surprised by this statement, and Shengyu himself was surprised that he asked for more. But he hesitated, thanked me for the food and said that he was full. But his father picked him up and told Lu Shen not to talk nonsense. After all, they will not allow him to starve in his own house. The father asked his wife to cook something else for a quick hand. Mom nodded approvingly and got up from the table. The joyful father patted his son on the shoulder, saying that Lu Shen was becoming a man, and now he will be forever hungry, and the hero will curb his appetite only when he dies from how much he ate. So welcome. Tomorrow his father will buy him a lot of useful things. Puberty is a great way to improve a hero's health status. It is a sin not to take advantage of such a chance. I wonder how far they can go. The nurse sitting at the table said that it was not puberty. The hero is already 18 years old, and the last time his status was about 0.8. That's not all. The status cannot grow at Lu Shen's will. To which the father responds to his daughter so that she stops bullying her brother. After all, King herself knows what the difference is between an ordinary university and a highly specialized university. While his father and sister were arguing, Lu Shen realized that his status had really improved in a dream. He wasn't imagining it, was he? He needs to be evaluated at the dojo. In the evening, Shen went to the city to get a job in the dojo section. He read on the poster that the master of the dojo is Nai Hongchuan, and he specializes in boxing. Once I got into the top 10 at the 23rd conference, which was dedicated to martial arts. Nai Hongchuan is a 4th rank martial artist. Also on the poster were presented Ki Chuchai. He is a martial artist of the 1st rank and a promising student. The international standard for martial artists of the 1st rank is the presence of health status, which is equal to more than 1.5 and combat skills equal to more than 150. Lai Lam. She is a 2nd rank martial artist and a professional instructor. The international standard for martial artists of the 2nd rank is the presence of health status, which is equal to more than 15 and combat skills equal to more than 15. Shi Jim. He is a martial artist of the 3rd rank and is also a consultant. The international standard for masters of the 3rd rank of martial arts is the presence of health status, which is equal to more than 100 and combat skills equal to more than 10,000. And finally, Nai Hongchuan. He is a master of Jodo. A martial artist of the 4th rank can only become one whose status exceeds the peak value of 200 units and whose combat skills are estimated at 100,000 points. From the values he saw, Lu Shen was surprised, thinking that the health status of the Jedi Master was probably 300. A person's position in society largely depends on his rank. High-ranking masters are literally superhumans, and the requirements for admission are just crazy. And if King wants to enroll, then her parents will surely find the money to send her to this section. But the money is for Lu Shen. Unlikely, and besides, the hero will be able to learn everything in a dream. He doesn't need this stupid section at all. Lu Shen headed for the exit, but the girl behind the reception desk called out to him. She greeted him and asked if the hero wanted to sign up for a class. Lu Shen replied in a drawl that he didn't want to. He just wanted to know his health status and evaluate his combat skills. Despite the fact that the girl smiled at the hero, but she thought about him disdainfully. It flashed through her mind that the guy doesn't even have a personal trainer. He smells of poverty. The girl told Lu Shen to go further down the corridor to room 8, and there he would find a car for evaluation. She also asked if the hero needed help, but Lu Shen thanked the girl and said that he did not need help. He knows how it works. Later in room number 8, the hero is standing by this car and is ready to start by checking his status. He put his hand on the evaluation ball and the results were displayed on the scoreboard. His health status was 0.963 and his rank was beginner. The hero was jubilant. His status really grew by 0.2, and he grew for some hour there. This is what is called progress. Lu Shen has almost caught up with his sister, and she's actually a genius. At this rate, the hero will soon be able to build a career as a martial artist. So, well, now let's check how much his fighting skills have grown. The hero went to another car for the test. I concentrated, telling myself that everything would work out, because Lu Shen has the skills of those zombies, and those movements are carved into his subcortex. Lu Shen took a swing and hit the car with all his might. The car swayed and showed the result of the hero. His combat skills were 113. Lu Shen was surprised and said that it was just incredible. The increase is even greater than the status. It's true, Lu Shen will be able to become a master, because in 1 hour he was able to advance so far. What will happen if he drinks 8, 9 or even 10 hours? In just one night, he will be able to transform. The night of the same day, Lu Shen is lying in bed and can't fall asleep. Outraged, the hero jumps onto the bed and throws a pillow with all his might, saying that when he needs to, he can't fall asleep. What kind of filth is this? Did he get enough sleep all day? What kind of sleep mode is this? Then Lu Shen came to his senses, turned on the light and saw the time. He realized it was only 9 more. He was in a hurry. He said that it would be better to go to work out, since after the exercises sleep usually comes by itself. Now that his health status has grown, Lu Shen has to fix it. He took a deep breath and began to do exercise 13. The hero began to make the first movement, but then something strange happened. Lu Shen started doing the wrong exercise. It can't be. This is the exercise of that zombie soldier. When he finishes doing the exercise, Lu Shen says that he needs to do it 200 more times. With every movement, he feels the energy spreading throughout his body. But it's not just about exercise. Here, breathing plays an important role. He catches a flashback again and hears a man say that they have all learned the breathing technique, and the man will make sure that it is always used, even when the soldiers are asleep. Lu Shen finds himself thinking that this is amazing. It's like he's been training for a whole year, and maybe a few years. His dreams are really a real treasure. While doing the exercise, Lu Shen's stomach rumbled violently. He was very hungry. The hero has never been so hungry in his life. It turns out that with the growth of Lu Shen's body, his needs for food also increased. Now he can't live on ordinary food. He needs pharma. However, his family's budget will not be able to afford such expensive drugs. And if he can't get this drug, then his growth will stop. Lu Shen needs money. Then maybe he should get a scholarship. And as far as Lu Shen remembers, the Bai-He scholarship pays 10,000. And if the hero wants to get it, then he needs to get better. The next morning, Lu Shen went to the gym. He met his friend in the locker room. Liu Kaiming said that today the teacher did not even check their documents, which is very strange. Apparently today the class will have sparring sessions, and they haven't been for a long time. Listening to his friend, Lu Shen was changing clothes. Seeing the hero's press, Liu Kaiming was surprised, saying that where did he get the press from? It's only been a few days since Lu Shen managed to change so much. He is almost unrecognizable. Liu Kaiming wants to touch his friend's abs, but Lu Shen beats off his hand and says he was just exercising. And translating the topic, he touches his hair and says that he has grown a lot. He needs to get a haircut. Liu Kaiming asks if the hero really wants to show off in front of the girls. And because of that, he's been tearing his ass up all this time, or in order to show themselves in sparring. To this, Lu Shen replies to a friend, so that he does not judge by himself. After all, he does it all because of the upcoming exams. Lu Shen hopes that his friend will prepare well for them. On the way from the locker room to the gym, Lu Shen thinks that it is also possible to show off. Why not? Because this is his chance. Later in the gym, combat instructor Zhang Zhenguo announced that today the class will learn the basic fighting techniques that they discussed in class. Liu Kaiming whispers to Lu the puppy that he has heard that they're second-rank master. And yet, they say that the teacher fought monsters in the wastelands. He even has a scar on his arm, which he most likely got during a battle with monsters. Lu Shen noted to himself that it means their teacher has the second rank. However, the hero believes that the teacher's techniques are quite primitive and not honed. Zhang Zhenguo demonstrates to the class the techniques that they will learn in class today. The teacher calls one of the class named Janifel to repeat what the teacher has just shown. Jan Ifel gets up and goes to the teacher. The girls in his class took their breath away. One said that Ifel is so handsome and he has no strength. Another one picked it up, saying that it was not for nothing that he was the strongest in the class. Liu Kaiming sighed with displeasure, saying that young Ifel was always in the spotlight. He is handsome, rich. That's not fair. Of course, Jan Ifel will be strong. With such money you can afford the best farm. And his status, by the way, is already approaching 1, 2. So to all this, he also goes to the teacher's favorites. How can they, ordinary guys, compete with someone like Jan Ifel? Lu Shen, listening to his friend, thought that he would have agreed with this in the past. But now the hero intends to displace this major. After finishing practicing the exercises, the teacher told young Ifel that he had done well. Jan Ifel is in good shape, but he needs to work on balance. Later, Zhang Zhenguo promised to show how to fix the shortcomings. But you can't give up training, because Jan Ifel has a lot of potential. Jan Ifel thanked the teacher for his instructions, and he thought that the teacher was a babbler. He's a weakling himself, so he still dares to correct him. He is no match for Jan Ifel's family. Of course, he will have a good future. No one doubted it. The teacher addressed the class, saying if anyone would like to come out against Jan. But everyone looked away. No one wants to go up against Jan Ifel. Liu Kaiming, addressing a friend, said that there was no point in this. After all, Jan Ifel will not leave a wet spot from them. Stupid question. The teacher, looking at the class, reflects in his head, saying that every time the guys look away and wince, it is necessary to finally take the head out of the ground. How can he be taught if they are all afraid? The school teaches only the basics, and one day the day will come when they will have to defend themselves. Only the strongest will undergo natural selection, in which the basics will play an important role. The students think that Zhang Zhenguo has a pet, but this is not the case. And then Zhang Zhenguo noticed Lu Shen's gaze and thought that his gaze was different from the others. Looking at him more closely, Zhang Zhenguo realized that his eyes belonged to someone who had been subjected to severe trials. Zhang Zhenguo turned to Lu Shen and ordered him to stand up and take a stand. The hero obeyed, and the teacher himself noted that he did not know that there was such a guy in this class. A worried friend told Lu Shen to be careful. After all, exams are coming soon. You need to take care of your head. And you can't let pride overshadow your mind. Lu Shen told a friend not to worry. After all, the hero has already said that he trained. The teacher announced that the time limit is 10 minutes. And do not forget about security. We need to remember this lesson. The guys stood up against each other and prepared for the fight. The skill check starts right now. The teacher continues to wonder how he could not have noticed Lu Shen earlier. Zhang Zhenguo asked the hero how much is his status. Lu Shen said that last time his status was 0.802. The teacher, confused, thought that 0.8 was really not enough. Lu Shen has a big difference with Yang Yifel. In response, the teacher gave advice to Lu Shen, saying that more attention should be paid to the development of strength, since this is the basis of the basics. Then the teacher told him to get ready and announced to begin. Jan Infel was sarcastic, saying that he had heard the teacher. You need to train your strength and not give up. It is necessary to keep your hands at head level, since Jan Infel intends to hit exactly there. Lu Shen thanked for the advice and told Yang Infel to attack as he was waiting. Jan Infel swung and aimed his fist at the main character's face. At that moment, Lu Shen had all the advice about the fight flash through his head. That you need to keep your distance and watch your movements. It is also necessary to think over a counterattack and try to find a balance between attack and attack. You need to follow the rhythm, using jabs to study the opponent and use heavy blows. After all, status is needed for all this. Attacking Lu Shen, Yang Infel knows that the outcome of the battle is already a foregone conclusion. The winner will be the strongest. After all, weaklings like Lu Shen should lose in disgrace. But it wasn't there. Lu Shen was not so simple. At the last second, he manages to dodge the opponent's blow. And without having time to understand what is happening, Jan Infel gets slapped in the face and flies away. Everyone is in shock. Jan Infel is defeated. Everyone is shouting in chorus that Lu Shen knocked out a classmate with one blow, knocked Yang Infel out with one blow. Lu Shen defeated Yang Infel with just one punch. Everyone was surprised and amazed, because no one expected this from him. The teacher ordered a nurse to be called. Help arrived. Putting Jan Infel on a gurney and fixing his neck, they took him to the hospital. Lu Shen called out to teacher Zhang. The hero asked for forgiveness, because he didn't want it to happen that way. Lu Shen referred to the fact that he had not calculated the force, to which the teacher replied that injuries are an integral part of sparring. And I told the hero not to worry about it, because Jan Infel will definitely recover. And then teacher Zhang called Lu Shen to his office because he wanted to discuss something with him. The hero agreed and, saying goodbye to his friend and telling him not to lose him, followed the teacher into the office. Terrified and agitated, Liu Kai-ming, not understanding what was happening, began to think too much for himself. For example, he began to think that a friend was taking drugs, because how could he have such power? He knocked out Jan and fell with one blow. And Yang's status is around 1.22, and it still wasn't enough to stand up to Lu Shen. Has his status really grown so much? Arriving at the teacher's office, the first thing Lu Shen noticed was bonsai. He was surprised by this, because he did not know that the teacher was fond of this. The teacher said that it was just his little hobby, because everyone has their own secrets. The teacher emphasized the latter. Zhang Zhenguo said that Lu Shen's status should now be about 0.8. To which the hero replied that these were the results of the last test. And now everything is different. Continuing his speech, the teacher forcefully and slightly raising his voice said that he hoped that Lu Shen did not use illegal drugs to raise his status. After all, it is forbidden by the rules of the school. And since anabolics are harmful to health, a student can be expelled for using them. But Lu Shen desperately swears that he does not use anything illegal. The teacher believes him and wants to check the status of the hero again. He took out a ball that determines the status, put it on the table and said that if Lu Shen used anabolics, then his status would be unstable. The balloon will show it, and then they will test his fighting skills. Stability will be the best proof of his words. Lu Shen agreed and put his hand on the ball to determine his status. The teacher was very surprised by the indicator he saw. The ball gave out Lu Shen's result. His status was 1.5. The shocked teacher thought that Lu Shen was already a master, despite the fact that he was only 18 years old. There is no such genius in their school, or even in the whole of White Lake City. While the teacher was lost in his thoughts, Lu Shen decided to determine his fighting skills. But the device could not withstand the guy's strength and broke down. The teacher screamed as the head that flew off the machine broke his bonsai and flew into the wall, stuck there. The frustrated teacher thought that even if this car was made for students, it still had to withstand his blow. Lu Shen's strength goes beyond a master of the first rank. The teacher and Lu Shen sat down opposite each other. The teacher was the first to speak, remembering that the hero said that his status was equal to 0.8. Zhang Zhenguo asked when the student last took the test. The guy replied that the last time he took the test was about half a month ago. The teacher opened his mouth wide in surprise and confusion. When he came to his senses, he said that the guy wanted to say that he had more than doubled his status in just half a month. Is he blue-blooded, or maybe a student began to study with some famous master? But Lu Shen assured him that he was an ordinary guy and no one was teaching him. As for how he raised his status, he replied that it was a secret. Still shocked, the teacher cannot understand how it is possible to improve their performance so much in just half a month. Now his disciple's rank is much higher than the first one. And at his age, Zhang Zhenguo had a good record. But it took him 2 years of meditation to reach the second rank and enlist in the military. It was only on the battlefield that he realized that a man in front of a monster is nothing. In the face of an unfathomable and uncontrollable force, humans are just pathetic ants. And the only people who can somehow resist these monsters are those whose power is just as destructive, unpredictable, and incomprehensible. And these people are also kind of monsters. Zhang Zhenguo said that everything was clear to him and advised the hero to study in a class for the gifted, since with his skills only there he would be able to get a decent education. The teacher will call the dean about him. Lu Shen thanked the teacher, but refused his offer, saying that he wanted to stay in this class. Learning in a dream is much better than anywhere else. Puzzled, Zhang Zhenguo said that this school would be able to fully unleash Lu Shen's talent. But in any case, if he has any difficulties, then the student can safely turn to him. To which Lu Shen replies that since that's what it's all about, he has 2 questions. The first is whether he will be able to receive a scholarship, and the second is that he would like to have a more flexible schedule. Well, to put it simply, the main character needs money. The teacher listens to his request and says that he will request a scholarship from the ministry, and talk to the dean about Lu Shen's schedule. The request will be processed for about 2 days, so the hero should not waste his time in vain. Let him go and start training. In the meantime, the hero can take his teacher's card. Lu Shen was very taken aback by this. After all, this is a black card of martial artists. There will be at least 100,000 on it. But his scholarship is not that big. The hero thanked his teacher, to which the teacher instructed him that the student should continue in the same spirit, and then the school would help him in everything. And Lu Shen, in turn, will glorify her. The disciple thanked Zhang Zhenguo again. After Lu Shen left, the teacher, pleased with this conversation, began to say that in this godforsaken place there is such a genius as Lu Shen. He hasn't even turned 18 yet, and he's already practically at the level of a second-rank master. Now you need to talk less about Lu Shen. He will become their secret weapon in the state exam. Everyone's going to be freaking out now. Well, now Zhang Zhenguo needs to hurry up and please the bosses. And yet it's not just about exams. After so many years, they finally found him. A soldier who will be ready to go outside. In the store, mom buys her daughter a nutritious tonic Heart of an Orchid. This is the newest product of the medical pavilion of resin. The girl consultant says that it is best to use the tonic to stabilize the status when it reaches 0.8. In addition, it is designed specifically for female masters. And at the moment its price is only 30,000. The daughter says that it sounds good and asks her mother to buy her this tonic. After the purchase, the mother tells her daughter that she should train well so that the tonic is better absorbed. The daughter assures her mother that with this tonic she will definitely take first place in the exam. Hearing all this conversation, Lu Shen understands that even if his parents work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I still won't be able to afford to buy a tonic for 30,000. Only those who are not more expensive than 3,000 will be able to. Strong masters earn a lot and invest this money in their children. It is still very difficult for children from poor families to get to the top. His sister, King, is a genius and therefore she has everything to change her life. However, she has a ballast in the form of Lu Shen, which takes away from her the opportunity to grow and develop well. And the main character is always complaining about his worthlessness, but without making any effort to change it. He just spends his youth aimlessly on all sorts of stuff. Lu Shen longed to see the wonderful world of martial arts, but hid in games, because it was the only thing that reminded him of his past life. He was like a fish in an aquarium. I dreamed of sailing into the open ocean, but I stayed in my safe and calm little world. But in any case, everything is different now. Lu Shen went beyond his capabilities and saw the real world around him, having received this opportunity to change fate again. Now he will act consciously, making a minimum of mistakes. Over the past few days, Lu Shen has gained a lot of combat experience, instantly increasing his strength. With this knowledge, he managed to break the vicious circle. You will know your nature and you will be able to know yourself. Did the teachers talk about this in class? Lu Shen finally took a step forward. He promised his family that he would definitely become stronger. Later, the hero went back to the wasteland, killing zombies to pump himself. The zombie attacks him, but the hero manages to fight back, knocking him to the ground. Lu Shen notices that this zombie used to be a master, and that means they can use combat techniques. According to the zombie soldier's memory, base 1359 should be ahead. However, Lu Shen does not see any black fog and a large number of monsters. Monsters, by the way, the hero has never met anywhere. It's very strange. Going forward and killing a small number of monsters along the way, Lu Shen manages to get to base 1359. Descending from the slope, the guy notices that the size is like a whole city. He caught a flashback to the attack of the Titans and thought that he wouldn't be surprised if monsters were climbing the wall now. Climbing up the high, broken in half wall, Lu Shen noticed that the walls were very thick, at least 20 meters in thickness, but it's hard to imagine what kind of creature could break through these arrays. This world surpasses Lu Shen's world in all respects, both in technology and in martial arts. If even such a powerful civilization has fallen at the hands of monsters, what awaits the world of Lu Shen? Climbing even higher, Lu Shi saw a building on the opposite side that was different from all the others. It must have been a military base or command center in the past. Then Lu Shan noticed that there was someone in that building, and it seems to be a zombie. At this moment, the hero was thrown back by some kind of psi attack. What a huge and terrible power. Well, apparently it's too early for Lu Shen to go there. Let's leave this place for the suite. In the meantime, he should look around. Just those zombies that are at the bottom look pretty harmless. Lu Shen jumped off the wall, bounced off the zombie's head and moved to another fence. Having entered some place similar to an ordinary apartment, the hero realized that there seemed to be no one there. The owners must have been eating when the world went to pieces, since the dishes on the table were left uncleaned. The doors and windows are intact. Apparently, people didn't even have a chance to escape from this black fog. Lu Shen noticed a strange device on the other countertop. Is he still working? Approaching him, the hero put his hand on him. Then the device started working, informing Lu Shen that the exit from sleep mode, reboot, had begun. Then a girl with light, long hair appeared from the device. She greeted user Tian Heng. Lu Shen thought it was just gorgeous. Is it really a hologram? But wait, she speaks the same language as Lu Shen. This girl speaks the same language as the main character. Could it be that this is some kind of high-tech translation? The girl said she was a product of Tianheng Technologies, that is, the built-in holographic artificial intelligence of the 16th generation. Her name is Ellie, and she is responsible for controlling the network server of base 1359. It turns out she is a hologram, artificial intelligence. This is 100% of the technology of the future. Lu Shen asked Ellie to tell him exactly what happened here. Ellie replied that she would be happy to do it and started connecting to the network. Then the inscription flashed that the connection was broken, but still she managed to restore the connection and get access to the database 1359. Ellie found a lot of information and brought it out for viewing. It told about the 11,024 year of the combat calendar. On June 21st, the main base number 2 successfully launched the 58th spacecraft in search of intelligent life. The destination was the Lyra galaxy. In the same year of the combat calendar, on July 24th, base 105 was captured. On September 24th, Lieutenant General Sun Kang reached the 10th rank of an interstellar martial artist, becoming the 472nd 10th rank martial artist in history. At the moment, 23 masters of the highest rank are alive in the International Martial Arts Union, and bases 114, 838, and 1022 fell one after another. The 8th Division is currently searching for survivors. In 11,024, on November 19th of the combat calendar, the 24th Council of Grandmasters was created at the main base number 1. At this base, they discussed a further plan of action to combat monsters. Lu Shen realized that they had the same grading system as he had in the world. The hero could not even imagine how strong they were. Then Ellie uploaded a video fragment of how monsters penetrated through the rift into this world. Lu Shen saw that the technology and martial arts of this world had reached unprecedented heights. However, despite such a high level of combat skills and these huge thick walls, in the face of monsters, they could not oppose anything. The inhabitants even tried to leave their Earth, sending their research groups to other galaxies, in the hope that they will find a new home for themselves. But in any case, none of them gave the signal, right up to the time when humanity fell. Now only one thing is clear. This world was destined to die. This civilization was really great. It's a pity that it fell. After Lu Shen found out all this, he turns to Ellie, asking her to show the history of this world. Ellie said she was happy and started recreating the history of this world. Even such an advanced civilization could not cope with the monsters. Lu Shen hopes that their experience will help them avoid the same fate. Ellie has already launched the history of the world, and the hero has started reading it. He read that in the first year of the combat calendar, rifts began to appear in the world, from which unprecedented creatures from other planets and galaxies began to emerge. In the 34th year of the martial calendar, the first world-famous martial artist with Inner Kai was born in the ancient Dragon Kingdom. In the same year, the World Martial Arts Union was established, and then Lu Shen realized that all this was the history of his world. Now it became clear why, the same language and the same gradation system. All that he now saw in this world was not his destruction, but his world. Only after 10,000 years, Lu Shen has now seen the future of his world. He began to calm himself down, thinking that it might just be a coincidence. Well, or one of the parallel universes. Lu Shen asked Ellie if she had information about certain people, to which Ellie immediately responds to him, saying that the search is completed. She found 36 people. Ellie gave Lu Shen his own data. The hero began to read them. He recognized himself that in the year 297 of the combat calendar, in June, he was really born. But what happened? Why did he die at the age of 28? The information on the scoreboard stated that the time of his life was from the 297th year of June of the combat calendar to the 325th year of February of the combat calendar. His occupation was a citizen, which Lu Shen was very surprised at. The achievements indicated his marital status. Lu Shen was single, and there was no historical rating at all. Lu Shen came up with something and asked Ellie to show the hero his own life in March 299. But Ellie told him that access was denied. Outsiders are forbidden to view information about martial artists. In order to register, Ellie asked Lu Shen to provide blood as genetic material. Lu Shen was surprised and asked how exactly he could do it. Maybe there's some kind of syringe here. At that moment, tiny Ellie wrapped her 2 hands around Lu Shen's finger and licked the pad of his finger. The hero blushed all over with surprise, and Ellie announced that the blood had been collected and began to conduct an analysis. Lu Shen, still doubled up and confused, thought that this is really how they take an analysis in the future. And this is despite the fact that she is a virtual character. Ellie began to behave strangely. Everything lit up red, and she announced that the analysis of the genetic material was completed. The Luch project has been launched. She connected to the storage of base 1359. The connection was successful and access is now allowed. And Lu Shen had a question about what kind of project Ray is and whether it could be that this project is somehow connected with the search for another world. And then the hero thought that he had really changed the future. Now Lu Shen saw other information about himself. His name is still Lu Shen and his gender is male. And then the information was different. The time of his life was from June 297 of the combat calendar to August 334 of the combat calendar. In the nature of his activity, it was said that he is a martial arts master of the 4th rank, and the access level is the 2nd. Lu Shen's achievements stated that he graduated from Bei High School with honors, took 1st place in the school exam and 23rd in the city. He entered Bei University. After graduation, Lu Shen joined the ranks of the martial arts army and served in the Tianan division. During the battle in the southern part in August 334 of the combat calendar, he died at the age of 37. Lu Shen was single. He also received the rank of lieutenant. In the military merit it was indicated that he received 3 medals of the 1st, 5 medals of the 2nd and 12 medals of the 3rd class, and he had no debts. Lu Shen's historical rating was 2 stars. Lu Shen also drew attention to his photo. If in the first photo he looked sluggish, not well groomed, tired, with bags under his eyes, and his gaze was lifeless, then in the second photo the situation was different. Shen had a big scar on his face, he had stubble. He looked more alive, healthy and strong. It turns out that if the hero becomes stronger, he will be able to change the future. His life path up to the age of 18 is the same. It even states that his strength has increased dramatically with the entrance exams. However, on the scale of history, this is a small achievement. Nothing but ripples on the water. In this huge user base, Lu Shen is far from a genius. In addition, during these 10,000 years, these geniuses were born, a wagon and a small cart. Wanting to leave a mark on history is nothing but ordinary pride. The records also said that in the exam, Shen's status was equal to 2012, and his combat skills were equal to 257. It turns out that if Lu Shen does not pump in his sleep, but will use only those techniques with which he trains at home, it will be able to achieve this result in about 200 days. But on the other hand, if you take into account his sleep training, then Lu Shen will be able to achieve these results in the near future. He is Lu Shen only the 23rd in Bei. No, he has to become a leader across the country, and then absolutely everyone will know his name. Lu Shen will definitely build a new future thanks to the fact that he will become stronger. He must definitely prevent the coming end of the world and save everyone. He will become a ray of light for all mankind. The next morning the family gathers for breakfast. Lu Shen left the room without changing his clothes yet, and mom asks her son why he hasn't changed his clothes yet or he doesn't need to go anywhere today. To which Lu Shen replies to his mother that the teacher told him that he could study at home. The hero does not have to come to school, so that the school allows you to study yourself. It's really amazing. After the hero had breakfast, he said that he would go to the room and do business. And mom answered her son, saying that let him go and study hard. The sister, who was sitting at the table all this time, thought that something was wrong with her brother. He seems to have changed a lot lately, not as dumb as he used to be. He also became quiet and strange. After entering his room, Lu Shen called teacher Zhang and said that the hero had received a scholarship. Have him come and pick her up after lunch. The hero thanked the teacher. The teacher also asked why the hero did not come to school today. Teacher Zhang would like to discuss the question of the time of the hero's visit, because he hopes. But the teacher didn't have time to finish, as Lu Shen interrupted him, saying that he didn't have much time to waste. It is difficult for the hero to explain this and he said he would call back. Lu Shen can't afford to fool around anymore. He wants to be the best. He wants everyone to be horrified. And the only way to improve his abilities is with resources. Lu Shen needs to get to the heights as soon as possible to find a way to change the future. Soon Lu Shen falls asleep and meets with Ellie. He asks Ellie to show the hero all possible training options by the type of notes, manuals, practices that are related to martial arts. Ellie said that okay, she would do a search on this query. A second later, the search was completed. She found 465,751 results of this query. The hero was puzzled by such a large number and asked Ellie to filter out a request to improve the skills of martial artists of the first level, as well as masters with the most valuable information. Ellie accepted the request and started filtering the result. According to the restriction of the master of the first level, she found 34,521 results, and sorting by the results with the highest overall score, she received that this result was only 3 people. Lu Shen knew that these were the best techniques in 10,000 years, and then he decided to familiarize himself with these techniques. Stellar Tempering Technique Introduction. Its creator is Wang He, a member of the Union of the Strongest Masters of the 11th rank, and she is included in the Ray Plan. Next, the Technique of Natural Breathing Introduction. It was created by Yang Yizhu, a member of the Union of the Strongest Masters of the 11th rank. His technique is also included in the Ray Plan. The next technique is Crystal Vision Introduction. Its creator is Duan Yifeng, a member of the Union of the Strongest Masters of the 11th rank. The technique is also included in the Ray Plan. Lu Shen was very amazed that the masters in the future are of the 11th rank, because the strongest master in reality is only at the 9th level. Before the hero is the whole legacy of the 3 strongest masters of the 11th rank. It's just unbelievable. Let this be just an introduction to their techniques, but their value is unspeakable, and also all of them are included in the Project Ray. Apparently, people from the top of the Union knew about the impending fate, although they couldn't do anything about it. They have left behind the best of what they have learned in a lifetime. After all, they hoped that someone would come after them and continue what they started. But the masters clearly did not realize that this would not be a successor, but their long-time ancestor. Lu Shen decided to try their techniques. He started with the Stellar Tempering Technique. The human body is arranged like a miniature universe. Thoughts are lost, but the spirit is not lost. The blood begins to purify, and the body begins to strengthen, improving the mind and every cell, turning each cell into a star of infinite power. The flowing blood turns into a river of stars, transforming the infinitely changing star field inside itself. The master's body density will reach an extreme level. Protection and strength are unimaginably huge. The blood begins to glow like stars, like a real star stream. It's just amazing. If before that, the body hardening that Lu Shen did gave 1, then the star gave 1,000, if not more. This introductory practice is no different from the usual morning gymnastics. Encouraged, Lu Shen moved on to the next technique, the technique of natural breathing. He discovered this technique and began to perform its first part, which began with fire breathing. After taking a breath, the hero felt that countless flames seemed to be burning in his body. Even Lu Shen's blood was boiling. And this is only the first breathing technique. There are several other techniques of a different nature. That's a thrill. Next, the hero began to perform the Crystal Vision Technique. This technique cleanses thoughts and strengthens consciousness. It deals with the most mysterious part of the practice, spiritual power. But does this mean that Lu Shen needs to practice it? Well, the hero aims to try this technique. Having begun to fulfill it, he plunged into his inner world and saw himself there. Soul and consciousness are very important for practice. A strong-minded master will not be subjected to useless thoughts. The combat power and cultivation speed far surpass the capabilities of a martial artist with a weak will and a lot of desires. But how can Lu Shen beat this? He looked all over himself, examined, beat on the head, looked into the eyes and shouted in the ears. Yet he does not understand at all what needs to be done. Well, probably everything should come with time. Lu Shen woke up exhausted and tired. What a strong feeling of fatigue he has. It was as if he hadn't slept at all. But what does it smell like? Then the hero drew attention to himself and realized that he was sweating profusely and very dirty. But really, even though everything happens in a dream, in reality it affects the body in full. Well, okay, now the hero needs to take a shower. Star technique and natural breathing complemented each other, and this combination allowed Lu Shen to get rid of all the negativity in his body. It's really just incredible. The hero is making great progress in his training. Now that he gets his scholarship, he will be able to create his own pills. Pills of the future. His strength will be legendary. Lu Shen will turn the whole pharmaceutical market upside down. Baya Institute. Lu Shen came to see teacher Zhang. The teacher tells the hero to at least contact him next time before coming to school. Lu Shen said he would warn you next time and thanked you for the scholarship. Zhang said that if the hero is busy now, he can go. But I asked him to attend school at least once a week. When the hero left, the teacher noticed how much Lu Shen had changed. Although he hasn't seen him for only a couple of days and already feels a huge gap between them. Walking down the street, the hero rejoices that he finally has money. Now we urgently need to solve the issue of nutrition of the body. He has recipes for the world of the future and now it is most effective to make your own supplements. The last time he rummaged through the Ray database, Lu Shen found there a recipe for what suits him best at the moment, at this stage. And these are vitality serum and bone marrow pills. Even the simplest herbal poisons require professional tableware. A small difference in heating and dosage can greatly affect the result. Lu Shen needs a specially equipped place. Buying everything yourself sounds impractical. After all, the hero's wallet is not rubber, so let's see if Lu Shen can rent pharmacy equipment. When he came to the pharmacy, he turned to the man with a simple lease of his equipment, to which the man indignantly replied that the guy was joking. The production department is the heart of any pharmacy, and the hero just wants to know their secret recipes. Does the hero think he's stupid enough to let Lu Shen in? So the man slammed the door in front of the hero with all his might, shouting that he would not let him in for anything and told him to get out of here. This is the 7th refusal. Apparently, this is unrealistic to pull off. Lu Shen has already bought all the herbs he needs for the serum and even some with a reserve. On the card that the teacher gave the hero, there were not 30,000, but all 80,000. This is probably an additional sponsorship. If Lu Shen still doesn't wear a lab, then he will have to order something primitive from the internet and try to do something on it. After walking across the street, the hero found another pharmacy there. Well, opening a point in the damn nowhere is not a good idea. Although, Lu Shen walked into this pharmacy and said hello. There was a guy sitting at the cash register who, interrupting the hero, said that he could look after what he wanted and come to him for payment. Lu Shen tried to convey to the guy that he did not want to buy anything, because he had a request to him. But the guy, without listening to the hero, said that he would not take something and run away. There are cameras everywhere. The hero was surprised and angry by the guy's behavior, because despite the fact that in previous dreams he was refused everywhere, but they asked the hero to want to buy. But it's not like that. It looks like they don't want to have anything to do with him at all. Therefore, unable to stand it, Lu Shen hit the table, to which the enraged cashier ran over him, asking that he wanted to die. But seeing what the hero's strength was, the guy held his horses and asked what he needed. To which Lu Shen replied that he just wanted to ask if there was a production department in the pharmacy. Not understanding what the hero was driving at, the cashier replied with a hit and run that it didn't matter if there was or not, because he needed medicines. Smiling, Lu Shen replied that if they have a production department, then he would like to make a deal. The guy led Lu Shen to an iron door with many locks. The hero had already reached out to her, but the guy stopped him, saying that they had agreed 500 an hour, the same amount if he stays less, and he gives the hero a maximum of 3 hours, and yet. But the guy did not have time to finish, as the hero said that he understood and handed over the card, since the payment is in advance. The joyful cashier opened the door and wished a successful job. Lu Shen entered, put on a robe with gloves and started his first creation. At first, he started with the processing of raw materials. Lu Shen placed the lizard in a flask of solution. In a green scaly lizard, it is necessary to separate the scales using this solution. Then you need to add a neutralizer, mixed to a concentration of 35% and store at a constant temperature. Next, the liquefaction of the moonstone using a laser emitter. Visible radiation is tuned to certain wavelengths. The material is split into a fluid liquid state. Then it needs to be collected and cooled. And, finally, the zogger of the petrified root of the paper tree is cut. These roots are impossibly strong, so strict dosage control is necessary. And then processing, where the chemical properties are regulated after the mixing process. Mixing is carried out in the correct proportions and order. Well, the final product is a vitality serum. Lu Shen couldn't even believe that he would succeed the first time. The hero has created a serum that will be invented only in 10,000 years. Although, it's too early to judge. The serum needs to be tried again. Lu Shen raised the serum flask to his lips and drank a little. And I realized that there are no sensations, no taste. Really a failure. But then something happened. Lu Shen fell, clutching his chest. He felt a sharp pain. Later, after the pain had passed, he was lying on the floor in the laboratory, all scared and excited. That's a side note. On the other hand, all the vitality that had been lost by prolonged training was instantly restored, even with a vengeance. Such a powerful drug that almost does not harm the body. It's just unbelievable. Moreover, this powerful tonic improves blood circulation. It also has additional advantages. It increases the density of the skin, whitens it and moisturizes, narrows the pores. Here it is, a piece of the world of martial arts of the future. Before he could finally come to his senses, there was a pounding on the door. The hero opened the door and asked what happened, because the time has not passed yet. Didn't he say not to interrupt him while he was working? But the guy who let him in here shouted that there was no time to explain. Lu Shen needs to leave urgently. We need to go through the back door, since his boss's wife has returned. The girl brought a box of flasks and put it on the table. Taking one of the flasks, with a green filling, she drank it and said that it was all wrong. Ineffective synergy of herbs. There are no medicinal properties at all. This stuff won't even go for a tonic. The girl remembered a phrase from an advertisement that said that a pro should not talk bad about himself. The main thing is not to stop. Let the past scatter to the wind. Do not keep the remnants of yesterday and today. Only by cherishing the present can they reap the benefits of tomorrow. Wang Hu pills for real men. With the rapid development of martial arts, the complementary medicine industry is also changing rapidly. New and improved tools are being developed every day, and the old ones are unnecessarily lost in time. The reason why this girl's family is almost bankrupt is that they are conservatives and stick to old ideas. They don't even try to keep up with the times. The old tools that still lie on their shelves are already under 100 years old. These funds have not been competitive in the market for a long time, and she still can't find a new recipe. The family business that the girl's father handed over to her will be, well, if she doesn't have any ideas for development, then the only way out will be to consult with an old pharmacist. Mr. Zhang from a nearby town was able to develop a new drug. She aims to go there and try to learn something. After all, it could change the fate of the He family. The guy ran out to meet Ms. He and tells her that he thought she would not return to the city today. Still, she's back a little early. An angry and dissatisfied mistress goes inside the laboratory. And at this time, the guy begins to think about the lady that she is a beauty queen. So cold and so charming. The goddess he would worship forever. In a gradually fading family, he is the only one who will be by her side. And in the end, the lovers will stay together forever. Career and love, together to the top. It's just like they say in novels. Ma Fei is pulled out of his fantasies by an enraged Mrs. He. She saw the soiled lab coat that Lu Shen had left behind when fleeing through the back door. She asks Ma Fei how he could let anyone use her lab. But looking at her beloved mistress, Fei continues to hover in the clouds, telling her that she looks charming even in anger. His mistress calls him, and he comes to his senses, saying that he would never dare to bring anyone here. The still angry mistress sighs, calling him a fool, and says that tomorrow he may not come here anymore. A frightened Ma Fei asks her to let him explain everything. Later, in the laboratory, the mistress throws away the soiled robe. And still angry, she says that now she will have to re-disinfect the entire inventory. You need to wash the table and wipe it. Here, also the activator with laser controllers are dirty. Starting to clean up, he notices a large flask with the remains of scales nearby. Was the activator used on the green lizard? But also the most valuable comes out. Madame has never heard of such a method before. She thought that this man seemed to be one of those who wanted to develop their own drugs. But the development of a new substance requires enormous knowledge in the field of pharmacology, as well as a huge amount of money and the same number of attempts to combine components. And this man, who doesn't even have his own laboratory, but he already dreams of wealth. However, he is pinning his hopes on unrealistic dreams. Although, isn't that what the mistress is doing now? When she saw the broken flask that Lu Shen had left on the floor, she began to lament Fei again, saying that he just went into someone else's pharmacy and used the equipment, so I also scattered everything that lies unevenly. Great, and how many more surprises are waiting for her? She took the broken flask with the remains of the drug and began to examine it. He saw a moonstone, a petrified root in the composition, and was very surprised by the combination of such ingredients and what kind of reaction it causes. Madame has never heard of this recipe before, but maybe. She took and licked a drop of this drug. Ma Fei, upset, trudges home with his things, saying about Lu Shen that he is a sheep who framed him. He shouldn't have taken the money. He can't believe that his relationship with the goddess will end like this. Let someone at least let him look at her, at least with one eye. And then he sees his mistress running after him and calling him, asking him to stop. Ma Fei can't believe her luck. He throws all the things and runs to her, saying that he knew she was thinking about him. He's not going anywhere. Fei is ready to be with his mistress forever. But he grabs him by the collar and shouts at him, asking who was in her lab. She urgently needs to see him. Ma Fei still can't come to her senses and doesn't answer anything. Then he starts shaking him even harder, shouting that she urgently needs to see this man. If Fei can find this person, then the job will be his again. Plus, she'll double his salary. Fei answers in a drawl that he has that guy's number. Nizzy snatched the phone out of Fei's hands and started looking for Lu Shen's phone number. She realized that the remedy that the hero created is 10 times more effective than any other supplement, up to 100,000 yuan presented on the market today. Definitely the component is strong in restoring and building muscles, and God knows what else. The main ingredients of this drug are ordinary herbs, and the cost of these herbs is less than 5,000 yuan. This is a new world-class drug, and she finally found something incredible. This is her chance. Lu Shen is practicing those techniques again. The star tempering technique is a grade 11 technique that is 10,000 years old. The development of the potential of the human body is so great that one can hardly believe it. At this rate, perhaps a real star will be born in Lu Shen. The natural breathing technique is also amazing. She has great power, and without this technique, the recovery of the body will not be as effective. The hero has more vitality, and the effect of the drug makes itself felt. The hero prepared as many as 12 pieces of such a drug, and with his current physique, he will be able to consume 2 bottles a day, and in 6 days he will need to do even more. At that moment, the phone rang. Lu Shen picked up the phone. "Mrs. he replied. She greeted him and called him the master, saying that she was worried about him and introduced herself as the owner of the House of Kindness, Hisu. She also said that she saw the medicine that the hero created. Hisu continued to praise Lu Shen, saying that his drug would be a worldwide breakthrough, and they can work together. The House of Good will promote this product. Lu Shen answered all this listlessly, saying that they could meet in a week. Hisu exclaimed, saying that the hero can now. But she didn't have time to finish, as Lu Shen dropped the call. Hisu attacked poor Ma Fei again, shouting that it would not work out today, only in a week. And from now on, Fei will be in charge of finding Lu Shen. The sooner he finds it, the better. She promised that she would give Ma Fei 10,000 for each day. When Fei realized what had been said, he was very happy. He just shone all over, telling his mistress that he would definitely keep his word. But I noticed that the person who asked him to let him use the laboratory was just a teenager. He looks like a student. Is he really the kind of master his mistress is talking about? From what she heard, Hisu felt confused, thinking to herself, what kind of person is this? Lu Shen went back to his dream to pump up his fighting skills. There he met a zombie who was not like the others and decided that this would be his goal today. He decided to take a chance, as he is a martial artist of the 1st rank. But will he be able to defeat this monster, which is a master of the 4th rank? The monster started attacking first, but the hero managed to defend himself. Well, it turned out to be more difficult than he expected. The monster is twice as strong as him. The hero won't last long. At this time, the zombie took a swing again and wanted to strike already. But Lu Shan dodged, moving behind the monster's back, and from there he struck. The monster fell and then Lu Shan struck the final blow. It turned out not to be a monster for leveling up, but a hero who deserved respect. He died in battle defending the city. Lu Shen bowed to him, absorbing his strength. In life, this monster would have been rank 5. No wonder his fists are so powerful. If it wasn't for his severed arm and lack of intelligence, then Lu Shen would have had to fight relying solely on his body's fighting instincts. And even in this case, the hero would have been defeated. For almost a week he has been practicing star tempering, natural breathing and crystal guidance. With the help of spiritual practices and an invented drug, Lu Shen was able to advance far. And the knowledge that he absorbs about the conduct of the battle also bears fruit. Using the secret techniques of breathing and the star galaxy, Lu Shen will be able to unleash a force that is not how many tens, no, even several hundred times stronger than his usual one. He called this technique with unification, the power of the stars. The following day, Lu Shen decided to test his skills again, or rather how much he had improved them. He went to the same place where he was at that time. Lu Shen greeted the girl at the reception desk. He said he would like to use the machine to assess strength, and asked if there was a spare room. The girl recognized him right away and asked what he was doing here, because she had heard that he had an exam soon, and in a short period of time his strength could not be increased. Lu Shen hesitated and said that he hoped that he would raise his bar at least a little. But indeed, this month he comes for the 2nd time. For an ordinary person, at least several months or even 6 months pass before the test. Even those schools that care most about the academic performance of their students evaluate the parameters once a month. The girl said that room 206 is free, the hero can go there, and wished him good luck. When Lu Shen came to the right room and stood in front of the car, he said that if he hadn't developed so fast, he definitely wouldn't have wanted to come and look at the 0 result. Well, let's check his status. He put his hand on the ball and the machine showed that his status is 15.6. Really huge progress. This is much higher than the norm for a 2nd level martial artist. Although if you think about it, what's so amazing here? Lu Shen used the best techniques of future years and plus the most advanced tonic. It would be surprising if the increase wasn't so significant. Well, now let's check the combat skills. Lu Shen went to the next car and hit it. The result was 3,137, and this is as much as 2 times higher than normal. And it was an ordinary blow. What will happen if the hero strikes with all his might? If the indicator increases, it means that Lu Shen has no limits in the development of combat power. The hero decided to hit again, but with all his might. He used a technique with unification, which he called the power of the stars. At parting, the girl wished him neither fluff nor feather on the exam. When the hero left, the girl behind the counter said about him that he was cool and his smile was cute. And at this time another girl came and asked who she was talking about. The girl behind the counter was surprised. This is Nai Shuang. She is the daughter of the director of the Crimson River Martial Arts School, with a younger brother. Nai Shuang said that she came out only for a second to go with her brother to the restorative bath, and the girl was already in a love fever. And then she asked if the guy came to check, to which the girl behind the counter replied that she was not in a fever because it was just a schoolboy. He's just very handsome. Then brother Nai Shuang got into the conversation, saying that what's the point of a beautiful face? They can't protect themselves from monsters. In their society, only combat skills are valued. Besides, this guy looks like a kid from an ordinary family. Why then would he check for a deliberately negative result? Listening to her brother, Nai Shuang thought that science was for the poor, the sword was for the rich. Resources for learning martial arts play a huge role. And Lanner, her brother, has been drinking tonics since childhood. Even before he started training, his stats were much higher than others. Now he practices a variety of arts. The gap between him and his peers is increasing every day to a vile, arrogant type. For such words of her brother, Nai Shuang gave him a slap on the head, saying that one should not compare oneself with children from ordinary families. If he has time to grind his tongue, then let him go and practice, instead of spending the whole day praising your achievements. Lanner promised his sister that it wouldn't happen again, and I decided to ask her for a favor. He'd like to see that guy's test result. The sister asked why he needed it. Lanner replied that the guy looked a few years older than him. Lanner thinks he's from high school. He just wants to check if there is an effect from all his hard work. After all, he doesn't know what to expect. The sister agreed to help her brother, but the brother must remember that this is just an ordinary boy. And I asked my brother not to turn up his nose too much. My brother agreed. The girl brought a tablet with Lu Shen's results and said that he was the only one who came for testing today, so they can see the results right now. Nai Shuang took the tablet and made sure that Lu Shen was really a high school student. But when she saw the result, she was very shocked. The siblings were stunned by Lu Shen's results. Lanner even thought that the device was broken, but the girl assured him that this was out of the question, because yesterday all the equipment was checked. Nai Shuang asked Xiao Lin about Lu Shen's phone number and address, but Xiao Lin said that he is not a member of the club, but often comes here, maybe he lives nearby. Nai Shuang asked her to contact the free staff and find information about the students of this area. They have to find him. Nai Shuang must definitely find Lu Shen. Lu Shen arrived by taxi for the exam. The taxi driver said that it was nice to chat with him, and if they meet next time, he will definitely introduce him to his daughter. Lu Shen thought that this uncle is very sincere. He could tell him that he was going to the Martial Arts Association to take the exam for a master of the second rank. But then the uncle would have thought that Lu Shen had gone crazy and would have dropped him off in the middle of the road. When Lu Shen wanted to enter the building, an exiting man flew into him, shouting that this could not be, because he had been training for so long. His fighting skills can't be less than 150. The two guys who came out next were talking to each other. One of them said there was nothing to be done about it. After all, the association's equipment is made to order. It is the most accurate of all that is in the country. The other guy replied that in order to pass the test, you need to give your best. Hearing their conversation, Lu Shen was delighted, because a more accurate result is great. Finally, he will be able to find out how strong he really is. Lu Shen entered the building. There was a girl sitting at the reception desk, from whom he asked how he could pass the exam for a martial artist. The girl said that first you need to fill out a questionnaire, and then go to room 5203 for a test. The hero memorized the questionnaire and went into the test room. Lu Shen saw a huge queue there. How he doesn't want to waste time on this. What should he come up with? The two guys standing in front of Lu Shen paid attention to the girl, saying that she was very beautiful. Did she come for a test, too? She's so young and dared to come to the exam. Apparently this girl is very capable. Beautiful and strong, straight komsomol. Lu Shen noticed that most of the people in the queue are about 25 years old. Compared to them, the hero is just a snot. But it seems that this girl is even younger than him. At this moment, a huge man enters the test room. There was a couple standing nearby. The man said that today is the day when he will embark on the path of a martial artist. This is the beginning of a new stage in his life. His girlfriend, who was standing next to him, supported him, saying that he would succeed. But the big guy who entered the room walked past them without a cue, politely asking the couple to give way. Seeing this big guy, the man's eyes popped out. It seems this big guy is bigger than these two put together. But the girl didn't like that he got in without a cue and ran over the big guy, asking if he was fucked up. The scared guy of this girl, hiding behind her, said that he should go without a queue if he was in such a hurry. But the girl did not let up, because there is actually a queue, and let him only dare to say that he is only asking. Or the big guy thinks that if he is so huge, then the rules can be broken. But the uncle who takes the exam, taking the questionnaire of a huge man, said that everything was fine since he was on a ticket. Zhao Chengfeng, that's the name of this big guy, should be the first in the exam. He is being tested for a master of the 3rd rank. Hearing this, the whole hall was stunned. After all, this is very rare. There are a little more than a dozen people in the whole city who are awarded the 3rd rank. The world of martial artists is dominated by force. Whoever is stronger has privileges. The examiner announced to Zhao Chengfeng that he could start the test. First he has to check the health status. That girl still wouldn't let up, saying what's wrong with Zhao Chengfeng being a master of the 3rd rank. He's still just an ordinary person like everyone else. And then Zhao Chengfeng's result was highlighted. His health status was 107. The girl opened her mouth in surprise. It is the first time she sees indicators that exceed 100. This is really a big indicator, and the examiner announced that Zhao Chengfeng would then test his combat skills. The big guy swung and hit the car so that everyone in the room fell from his might. The test results showed that Zhao Chengfeng's fighting skills are 10,831. The examiner congratulated him and said that from now on Zhao Chengfeng is a 3rd rank martial artist recognized by the Martial Arts Association. Now Zhao Chengfeng will receive a master's allowance of 30,000 yuan every month. Turning around, the big guy saw that only 2 people remained standing, Lu Shen and the girl whom the guys admired. This girl was stunned by Zhao Chengfeng's fighting strength, because the wave from his blow was able to shake all the primates. Lu Shen, on the other hand, remained on his wave, saying calmly that this means the power possessed by martial artists of the 3rd rank. The girl, hearing his words, was surprised. After all, the hero looks normal, but was able to stand on his feet. Is he just pretending to be a weakling? Lu Shen asked the examiner to be tested next, because there is no one else in the queue anyway. The uncle, smiling at the hero, thought that how could he behave so calmly after seeing this blow? It's impressive. And he said that Lu Shen could start the exam. The examiner tried to encourage the hero, saying that he was not worried and recommended breathing evenly. We need to do everything as usual. At this time, Lu Shen had already put his hand on the ball and saw his health status result. This status was 15.7. The Komsomol girl was so amazed that she asked if Lu Shen had a tonic flowing through his veins instead of blood. Zhao Chengfeng was also impressed, thinking that the guy looked about 18 years old, and this is a high enough status for his age. Meanwhile, Lu Shen moved on to the next test. The examiner asked the hero to relax and ignore the consequences of Zhao Chengfeng's blow. Lu Shen can test his fighting skills as many times as he wants. Let the hero hit and not be shy. To which Lu Shen replied that he would figure it out himself. One blow is enough for him. The hero concentrated and swung. Everyone froze in anticipation, and Lu Shen hit.